Damn it, AMC, stop releasing these like one day after the other. Just spread them out a little bit. It's Ash from Super Videos back for another video for Season 8 of The Walking Dead. So AMC released yet another trailer or teaser for the second half of Season 8. Damn it, AMC, stop releasing these like one day after the other. Just spread them out a little bit. Anyway, most of what's in the actual trailer is stuff we've already seen. However, there's some very, very interesting shots that were in the new trailer, and also some conversation in this new trailer or dialogue that does a hint at some very interesting developments. So starting off, and this is in no particular order, it's just the order I have these in, but we have this shot of Carol. She's obviously at the kingdom talking to someone, most likely Morgan, and we do hear her saying, winning just means we get tomorrow, maybe one more night. After that, no guarantees. And that's where the title of this trailer comes as well, No Guarantees. Now, I thought this was very interesting. Obviously, Carol is known to be pessimistic. She's known to look at the dark side of things, at the empty half of the glass, as you would say. But this is even darker than that because, she doesn't have hopes for tomorrow. Even if they do win, like she says, when the saviors are all gone, then they still have to survive. So, a little bit of a more pessimistic side of Carol, maybe a more pessimistic side than we've ever seen. Maybe she's going towards another direction, maybe a direction that's closer to what happened to her comic arc. I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I don't want it to happen, but this does hint at that. But at the same time, this might just be some sort of Easter egg or them paying homage to her character and her storyline from the comics. But I thought that was very interesting. Then we have this other shot of Carol. Obviously, she's at the kingdom. Morgan is beside her, as we do see in another shot. And they're kind of looking out there, waiting, most likely looking at Gavin and Ezekiel as they talk, as Ezekiel is captive. And they're basically trying to find a plan to get Ezekiel out of the kingdom and save him. Then we get this other very, very, very interesting shot. We have Enid, Aaron, and Cindy at the Oceanside. So this confirms that Oceanside do let Enid and Aaron go, even after Enid killed Netanya, which I do see is a bit unrealistic. However, we did note that Aaron and Enid are alive based on the last teaser anyway. However, we do know that they take them back to the Oceanside for some reason. Maybe they're gonna join the war, and there's some interesting things that hints at that as well. But one thing I do want to mention, a bit unrealistic that they would take them back to Oceanside. Not sure why they would do it, but interested to know. Then we have this other shot of Enid talking to someone. I think this is definitely at the Oceanside, and she's most likely talking to Cindy or maybe another top-ranking lieutenant at the Oceanside. And she says, the saviors are coming, and they will wipe you out. Don't make the same mistake. So maybe she knows that the saviors are coming to Oceanside and she doesn't want the Oceanside to make the same mistake because obviously they made the mistake once and the men were wiped out. And as we predict, Simon most likely was responsible for that. But, Enid is basically trying to warn them and telling them that if you don't join the war, they're going to come after you and they're going to kill you. So very interesting development there. I hope that goes somewhere that we don't predict, because if they just join the war, then it's a bit predictable, especially after them having this part in the trailer. Now, one thing I do want to mention, in the last trailer, there was a little part of this conversation with Enid saying the saviors are coming, and I predicted or I guessed that she was talking about Hilltop because they had the shot of her at Hilltop when that dialogue was running. So I was wrong there. She is talking to most likely Cindy, and she's talking about Oceanside. So the saviors attacking Oceanside. But very interested in knowing more about that storyline and how it develops. And I definitely hope that there's something there that we don't see coming, because if it just happens like I said, then it's predictable. Next, we have this shot of this savior. I don't remember his name, but he's talking to Maggie. And then we can hear Maggie telling him, "You are the enemy," which is pretty interesting. So maybe the conversation that they had goes something like this. He's saying, "I'm reasonable, I can be trusted," or whatever. And Maggie says, "No matter how reasonable you are, no matter how much of a good guy you think you are or you've proven to be, you are still the enemy." So that's very interesting and a bit of a darker turn for Maggie, I would say. So she's basically saying, no matter what happens, you're still the enemy. I'm still going to kill you at the end of all this. That's what I take from it. So very interested in seeing what leads to that quote from Maggie, and also whether Maggie is beginning to get pushed towards a more darker side. Later on, we have this shot of Maggie as well. She's pointing the gun at someone, most likely a savior. I don't think it's a walker because she wouldn't be looking like that if she's pointing it at a walker. So maybe one of the saviors, maybe the one that we just saw, makes her agree to take her somewhere, maybe to point her out to a specific direction, or maybe tries to help out, and then at some point he does something shady and Maggie is forced to kill him or threaten to kill him. But I think there is something there that leads to some sort of plan with Maggie and one of the prisoners of war to get them out of the hilltop for whatever reason, and it most likely will go wrong at some point, or something along those lines. I might be wrong, I've been wrong before, but that's just what I'm predicting. Then we have this shot of Michonne looking terrified. We have the fence, obviously. This is still at the Alexandria safe zone, I would think. And then at the later shot, we see the same fence from the other side, and we see walkers. So what we are seeing is Michonne is most likely terrified because she is seeing walkers enter Alexandria again. So maybe she's getting flashbacks of No Way Out, which is very interesting. Next, we have this shot of Michonne as well. This is definitely at one of those carts at the junkyard community. So Michonne and Rick are most likely hiding. Michonne may be looking at the walkers. Obviously, before they were walkers, they were the scavengers, as we predicted based on the last breakdown I did. Next, we have this shot of Dwight and Tara running. Now, in my last trailer breakdown, I predicted that Tara is running after Dwight. I was probably wrong about that because it doesn't look like that's what's happening. However, I think it's safe to assume that at some point, Dwight and Tara are going to be sitting by the tree and Tara is going to point the gun to Dwight's head. But I don't think that one is running after the other. It doesn't look like it. Next, we have this shot of Rosita. She is most likely in that same swamp area that we saw her in multiple times in the last trailer. Nothing really to say about this one. Next, we have this other shot of Rosita. She is looking out through the binoculars. Obviously, she's at Hilltop. Now, I don't know what she's looking at. Maybe she is looking at a savior, maybe walkers. She might even be looking at some survivors getting there. But there's really nothing else we can say about that. That's basically all of the new shots that we had in this new trailer, as well as some of the dialogues that were in the new trailer. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.